Hello, we're going to talk about how I transfer art from paper into the digital realm. So what you can see me doing here is tracing out the geometric random shapes that I like to do using this ruler that I got when I was probably 10 years old. I'm in my 40s, so that's a pretty good buy there. I like to do things that look three-dimensional or otherwise kind of mess with your mind and you don't know where the shapes go. Kind of that MC Escher type thing, although he was masterful at it. What you're going to see now is, well, more of the same. Probably should have shortened this part up, but that's okay. I'm going through with a pencil to mark things. I'm doing some erasing. I'm trying to get the angles to all match up correctly, but they don't always. That's okay. Now what you see me doing is I'm going through with a fine point Sharpie to be able to go over all these lines. What that's going to help me do is once I take it into Photoshop, I can better see them. Photoshop could better see them so we can process them better. Otherwise, if it's just pencil, I have to do a lot more pushing and pulling with the levels and the curves. Most of this I'm able to do with the ruler. I'm having to do some of these curves freehand. It's nice to have it already done in pencil, so I don't have to try to do a full circle or semicircle freehand, but sometimes I have to do my best with it. Now, I will occasionally add some additional bits and pieces with the Sharpie. You'll see me up here in a minute take a little creative license to fill in some of these areas that are basically blank. This is basically just a line drawing at this point. But I wanted to make it a little bit more interesting once I took it into that transition was where my my memory card filled up and I had to switch it out. So now you see me filling in some of the lines. I'm not going to do a whole lot of them. I just think it adds a little bit more something. And I do it to a couple more. I don't like to do it a whole lot because, well, I don't want to drown everything out in black ink. I'm going to do the circles here. I think I do one of the circles on the bottom and one on the top. And add a little bit of a, line there just to make it more interesting. I freehanded that one. Hey. So I went ahead and made a smaller semicircle inside of that larger semicircle. Did that. Doing a little bit more compass work. Doing a little bit more freehand. Filling some more of that in. And this is the point where we're about to take a photograph of this. Yes, a photograph. And we are going to take it in to Photoshop. And there was my cat, by the way. Here we go. We're done. Now, I took a picture of it, and as you can see, it's kind of wonky and wobbly on the screen, but that's okay because I'm going to go in. I'm going to warp it a little bit just to straighten that out a tad. You might be wondering, why don't you use a scanner? I like to use photographs because I think the photograph adds a little bit more something interesting to it. I don't know. It's just a thing. I tried the scanner with some of the earlier works and it was fine, but it looked very sterile. This basically introduces any of the little shadows or the lighting that might be in the room. And I like that. So what I'm doing here is struggling with the pen tool. Here we go. This is to basically fill out the edges so that when I come in with the paint bucket, that's a meh line. When I come in with the paint bucket, when I start filling things in, it's not going to fill the whole thing in. So these ugly lines you see on the outside are basically, they're not going to be visible in the final product or work. They're just there to contain what the paint bucket does. This all gets cropped out. By the way, I made the original piece into a smart object. We are in the smart object right now. Now we're back into the regular piece. That's the smart object. I made a copy of that smart object, rasterized it, made a smart object of that. So now I can go in and fill in all these random colors. It was one of those things where I was doing it kind of in a hurry because this is an experiment and I just wanted to see if it would work. And I'm just filling in all these different random colors. I try not to make too many colors that are too similar right next to each other unless they're different shades. And then once that's done, so the next bit of secret sauce is to take each smart object, apply the cutout filter to it in varying degrees, stack them on top of each other, apply some blending mode, and you get what you see here on the screen. Okay, what you see me doing here is adding kind of a vignette of sorts. I'm coming in with the smudge tool. I made that smudge tool and I like to just add different textures on the outside just to kind of give it a little bit more interest. I do like a good vignette. I'm not entirely satisfied with how that looks, and that's generally how it goes. I kind of keep going until I like the way it looks. Sometimes it can take half an hour, sometimes it takes hours. I'm basically layering up vignettes. I'm doing some work here that makes it look kind of grainy. I'm also adjusting the blend modes just to see what looks more interesting and what looks better. I know what the blend mode to do. I just don't always know how they're going to play together because I use multiples. Here I'm using a gradient map. Landed on this one, doing some blend if to try to make that look a little bit more interesting as well. Again, it's a lot of using the smudge tool. Yep, doing some squigglies there. Back to the paintbrush. Doing, well, this is a mask that I'm masking out. Coming back in with the smudge tool to get some more interesting effects on the outside. Again, going with the vignette. And I'm going to go back into messing with the blend modes until I get a color that I think is interesting. I'm gonna go ahead and save my work just in case. And one of the things I like to do is select certain areas like I'm doing here and fill them over the top with a color and then setting up blending mode to make it look interesting because I think it makes it pop a little bit more. And again, I'm kind of doing this quickly and in a hurry. Nothing really fancy. This is a pilot test video to see if this even works. And of course, no weird drawing is complete without some lightning. So I'm taking the pen tool. I've got a tablet that I'm using. Drawing these out. I'm going to then create a style that makes them look lightning-ish. And then I'm going to connect them. Bzz. Do a little bit more tweaking over here, and then I kind of, yeah, sometimes I get confused with my blend modes and where things are. So I left that alone. So that's it. The work is done. I'm going to add my little symbol there. All done. Little stick man and Stevie Ray Vaughan approved with sunglasses. And here is the final work. And that's all there is to it. I'm hoping to make more of these, and I hope you enjoy that. Thank you.